So you were just saying some stuff about Cam?
Oh, that's how you want to start?
Yeah, dude.
No,
Get spicy immediately.
Man, you know, he's a good guy. He's a great kid. Very
Yes.
gentleman-like. But then we rolled today, you know.
Okay.
And undisclosed location. And, you know, I tapped him. I think he was unconscious, but I wasn't sure. But I did feel a lot of taps and, you know, whatever.
So you didn't let go before he tapped?
No, dude.
You just let him go out like that?
I'm like, who was that UFC guy who did that? And they kicked him out because he didn't.
Oh, Paul Harris?
Yeah.
He would do that a lot, leg locks. And
That's,
whole
you know.
things on.
They called Gillian right here to my left, the Savage. Like, no, she's learning.
Dude,
Gotta step up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot like that going on, like the eye pokes thing.
Oh,
There's like a lot of like things that people do, like easily cheating, or can be considered like, it could be cheating, could not be cheating, like that, like front kick to the knee. Like that's not cheating, but that could ruin somebody's career, like for a long time.
I think that one's a little bit more debatable than the eye poke. So I'm like, the eye poke's an actual,
I mean, that one's
Yeah.
egregious. It's like even Joe was like, she needs to be out of there.
I know. We talked about
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
that same thing today.
Yeah, it's like you could literally go blind. Like intentionally.
That and like what we talked about it literally when we were just talking about it off air about when I came down, like it wasn't the first one. The first one you can understand, and like, dude, Gillian had an awesome thing about it. Like, yeah, you're kind of like you're dying, you're fighting for your life, so it's almost like this just organic reaction. But it's the second one. Like if it was just one, you can be like, all right, whatever. But then you're gonna
to the scene of the crime.
yeah, exactly. It's like
she went back for a second.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
this
come
isn't
on.
like a buffet,
Yeah.
bro. You
Yeah,
get
yeah.
off my eyes now.
no buffet.
Honestly, in that moment, though, it's like the only thing I'm thinking is like, I'm like, ref, do you see this? Like, do you not? You're right there. Like, I have a finger halfway into my eye. Do you not see this right now?
Yeah, it's not like in jiu-jitsu tournaments, like people grab like clothing doing no-gi. Like on accident, they'll grab something because they just did a gi match.
Sure.
So like their mind hasn't fully switched over, and like you have to, while they're live, pull their hand or say, hey, watch your hands, you can't grab. But it's like an eye poke is so different. What are you gonna say?
So dirty.
Don't poke her in the eye. If you can say it, you should have like pulled it. But I guess like in that thing, like, do you stop the action? Like, do you just call the match? Like, what would the
they should have fucking yanked her hand because Gillian's, you saw it literally seconds away of submitting her. So it's like you cannot stop that action. That's the fight. She trained fucking weeks on, weeks off to get to that spot.
I guess
so
now you have to start training, like doing reps. What's wrong with her? She's training.
She's trained.
She looks aggravated. No, she just.
No,
That's so good.
And it's like, even with that, like the eye poke was stopping me from getting the submission. It was pushing my head back where it, like, I needed my head to be over my hand to really have that choke in deep. So I'm like, it prolonged me getting the submission. But I think the ref maybe should have like yanked her hand away to stop the action at that point. I would have been mad. Like, I was so deep in on the choke. I'm like, I want to finish it at that point.
See, that's the difference. I've never reffed an MMA fight. I've done countless jiu-jitsu, so it's like you can stop it. But it's like when you're deep in a submission, it's hard. Like in jiu-jitsu, you don't even stop it. You just have to let it go if it's going to go. Because if you stop it, somebody's going to be like, no, they didn't have that grip. It's too advantageous for the other person.
Also, resetting is such a hard thing to do. I feel like even in jiu-jitsu, it's like, it's hard to find exactly the way you were.
And how be honest?
Yeah.
Was your hand really that deep, or was your grip that far? Like,
sometimes someone just explodes on the bell too, better than the other person. So you're in a position and they just explode and go, and now you lose your position.
Yeah, I always touch them and I'm like, "You're good, you're good," and then I look at that, I'm like, "You're good. All right, go." Because you can't give somebody one more than the other. But yeah, that's crazy. Did your eyes have any damage?
I think it was a lot worse on TV, and like I feel like the media, especially talking about it so much, made a big deal about it. But I was 100% fine. Like you can see some of my post-fight interviews. One of my eyes is like halfway closed, but that was about it. Like there was no real damage, and I was fine. I was ready. I was training. I was like sparring and everything that week. So
those media people, they're the worst, dude. Those media people, man, dude. I wouldn't talk to them. Don't trust them.
Yeah, they won't let things go.
Exactly. Can't grapple them either.
Yeah. Now, just in Cam's defense, now she did just show me a video, and it looked like a lot like you, unless we got a new.
I don't
student.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that video.
I mean, it looks just like you,
dude. We haven't ate really today yet, so I don't know. I gotta.
Maybe you needed like a Snickers or something.
Oh,
he had a big meal last night, so it's like he didn't really get to bed well, and it was a long night, so he wasn't prepared coming into training.
So it was you.
Oh, no.
Because now you're admitting it was you and it was just what you ate.
Maybe.
Now, I've made these types of excuses before.
And it's the funny thing. So, like, it's been probably, we're 36 hours in this, and I got another 10 hours later on today and tonight. So, like, I'm shooting on Gillian, like, every 3 minutes. Like, I'm trying to get some, like, hey, dominance. Like, hey, I can get the rear naked too. Like, I know she's, I know we have a combined UFC record of most finishes, and I know
in the female division, like
we do.
And that's crazy.
We worked really hard for that.
How did you get them to approve fights for you?
It's a lot of hard work, dedication. A lot of people want to thank, but Gillian deserves some credit of this.
It's probably short notice too, and they need somebody, and they know you're the guy.
Hey, I can cuddle.
Hey, I'm saying. I saw. I mean, you let her take your back. That was a good cuddle. Because it's not always about being the arm.
Like that was a sneaky trip. I thought like we were gonna like really set her skills and like techniques, and she chose like to pull the arm. Like, but whatever, she wants to win that way. That's fine.
Yeah. Trying something cheap over here with an arm drag.
Yeah,
she's so good. She knows it too. Like I just think I do. Like I think she's not even so underrated. Just we talk about it all the time. Like like name recognition or just look of the UFC. I think she's so underrated inside. I can't wait. Yeah. We talked about it with Taylor Starlin, my dear friend, on the Banana and Bee podcast. Like, I think easily Gillian's going on a 5-fight win streak. It's happening. Yeah.
It's like a big issue nowadays is just the talking. Like if you already have a look, so the look's there. But if you don't, like everybody's so attracted to negative things.
Right. That's a good point.
It's like,
it's not even just the talking. It's they want Colby Covington or Cejudo's cringe or negative.
Yeah,
like
and it's
someone
not even
can talk
just
great
on fights. It's like you could say, look, like I donated 20 hours of my time this week to like a local charity to like support kids.
Yeah.
Or you could say like, yo, my dad just hit me. What one's gonna get more traction? It's not going to be the kids for whatever reason. Why is that?
Do you have to talk about something? You all right, dude?
Oh, no.
You pulled that one out.
Far away, bro.
Okay.
No, he's a good dude. Like, it's definitely not anything like that. But like,
you're right. You're right. Like, if that was on the news, if we're flipping channels and it says, "Oh, dude, guy gave up 20 hours of charity," like we would click the button. But if you see like father hits stepson because he was watching Netflix for too long, it's like we would stop.
Yeah, or if it's like a Karen video in a Walmart, you're going to watch that video for whatever reason that gets the clicks.
That and football fights. I can't look away at football fights. Like crowd, like in the crowd.
I was going to say like the fights on the field.
No, because like they don't fight because they have helmets on.
Helmets, and I'm like, dude, you understand.
But in the crowd, drunk people.
That's what I think about. And like hockey fights, everything like that. I'm like, your poor hands. Like, how do you do that? Even bare knuckle. I'm like, that's too much for me. I'm like, your poor hands,
dude. Hockey. They should implement hockey rules in football because there'll be. Yeah. I mean, not that there's a ton of football fights, but the fights would be way less because, like,
no one really wants to
wide
fight.
Receiver, bro. The wide receiver might be quick, but the lineman got hands. Like, he's used to trucking people, so if he touches you, bro, you out.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna last long.
It's not a bad idea, dude.
Yeah, but you'll see like people in the stands, and if they have the higher ground, you should just give up. Don't even try to start that fight.
Yeah.
Because they'll like Spartan kick you and you're going down like to B level, bro.
Oh, it's crazy. It's so fun.
Adds a whole new dynamic to the sport.
Can you imagine if the ring was like a bowl then? It's like and you got the high ground and you just started like throwing flying knees or something?
There's a lot of YouTube videos I see of like the cushion on the sides.
Oh, yeah.
There's a karate like fighting league where you I think sometimes you can go to the ground, but it's like they'll run up on the side like Anthony.
Looks like American Gladiators or something. Yeah. It's unreal.
I seen it was like parkour MMA or something like that, where they're doing things like that.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that. I've seen Chuck Norris on some commercials for it, but I'm like, is he just money behind it, or is it a face kind of thing? It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a face. What a stuff.
Yeah. So are you excited to commentate this weekend? Is this like your first gig?
It's my second time commentating ever. But I'm still like, I feel like anything for me where it's like talking or like being in front of people, it's always like a huge deal. Like this morning I taught a seminar in front of like 20 people and I was sweating before I started.
Really?
Like I get so like socially anxious, nervous. So it's like, I want to keep on putting myself out there and putting myself in situations like this. And this is just an opportunity to do that.
That's exciting, dude. Do you teach at all where you train?
Not really, usually. No, I'm more focused on me as a fighter usually, but I'm also trying to look into like where I want to go after fighting. So that's why I feel like commentating or like working the desk or something like that would be a good outlet for me.
Dude, I always feel that like when I'm like I used to teach kids, and it's like obviously the kids don't know any better. They're not even focused on calming down. They're like, I'm just excited to be around like Billy and Anthony and like all these kids. So it's like teaching them, it's more so just wrangling people. But when you're teaching adults, it's like, do they believe me? Do they think this will work? Have they seen this technique and think it's better taught by someone else? Like you have that like imposter syndrome. It's like I've taught my students enough, like they'll be honest with me, but I can't imagine teaching like a seminar somewhere I don't know anybody per se, and like what the glare is at you, you know?
Right. That's
like,
crazy.
Do they believe me? And it's like, but you can back up what you do because like Google me. You know, I'm out there. You know,
and like I think Gillian said a great point about just kind of coaching today, and even at the gym, like. There's so many different ways. There's so many different ways to record a podcast. There's so many different ways to make a movie. And there's so many different ways to teach MMA or even like the same thing. Even as simple as like a rear naked, there's like 35 different processes and ways to, and then I would also too think every person's different. Like one guy has stronger forearms. One guy puts it in better. It's like there's no
different
one
shapes.
way to do fucking anything.
I feel like an issue that like I ran into specifically today was you got to learn how to speak white belt too. I'm like, I feel like I'm so used to talking to pro fighters, then I'm teaching the white belts things. I'm like, oh, I got to take it back. I got to break this down a little bit more. I got to slow it down. Like you forget that you got to take it back a couple steps sometimes to teach.
Yeah, it might be like their first week or first month, or like somebody's like, hey, you want to come to the seminar? And they don't even know what a seminar is. And like, oh, it's this girl UFC fighter and they're just going for you. And they're like, you're like arm drag and they're like, what's going on?
Yeah. I'm like, get the Kimura grip. And they're like, what's that?
Yeah, or pass the guard and they're like, there's a guard here. I don't know what's going on with that. But dude, yeah, I saw Logan Paul the other day on Impulsive. They were doing their podcast. Literally, they all had phones and the little cattail on it, and they were doing it like that. Like
that's how I did my very first one.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's how I did it.
Now they had multi-$1,000 cameras still for whatever reason, and they didn't get mics when they could just like they're millionaires.
Oh,
you can't just go down to Guitar Center real quick and get a mic stand and a mic. But they were doing it with Antonio Brown, and they were just like, "Yo, what's up?" And they were like doing man on the street type thing. And it's like such a weird time to try to debut that with somebody that's so off the wall.
Yeah,
because he'll just like leave. You know, he's not like super committed to anything.
Yeah, like I want to. I'm so intrigued if that's gonna be like their gimmick, if that's what they're gonna do, and kind of go that route with it.
Yeah,
or they're just like maybe they only had him for so much time, and they're like, oh, you know, mics could have been sold out in their area. That
but then how did they get the cattails for the phones?
Yeah,
I was
maybe they had it. Yeah,
I've been drilling this. I'm like, dude, how did they figure that out, but not the other thing really quickly? Unless somebody at the house, but it's like they've been taking their podcast on like a tour. So it's like wherever he's training or wherever like a party that he wants to do a podcast there. So it's been like on the rooftop of a condo. It's been in like a snow lodge. It's like been everywhere, dude.
Yeah, that's what I want to do more. That's just saying
like your walks, like Savage sessions and stuff like that. Like and then like what you do with Felicia, like that stuff is so dope.
Yeah, I love being on site somewhere different. Me and Felicia talked to you, probably know too. Like in Orlando, they have like a really cool big river and river, and like you get into
it's a
like
circle.
It's a circle.
Round
body
river.
of water.
It's water.
Right?
Yeah.
Is water wet?
Big puddle.
Is water wet? Like you get in one of those like ducks and like do it. So like we're gonna bring a GoPro and record us on the ducks. I'm like, that'd be awesome. Like, I can't wait. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to surf with Max Holloway. You know, and maybe I want to walk down the block with Nate Diaz. You know, I don't know. Maybe doing some activity together. Yeah. You know, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Whatever. But like shit like that. I want to, you know, maybe Valentina Shevchenko. Maybe she likes to do her nails or something. So I want to go on site and talk to Valentina for 15. Okay.
That might not be great for audio.
Yeah.
Like maybe not right by the thing, but nearby. Yeah, that'd be dope, dude. Like so many people have so many like hidden talents you could like do it around that activity,
right? Something like they have fun with outside of MMA and training and just
or like what if somebody was like really good at doing nails and then they did your nails while you were talking to them? Oh, wow. I mean, that would kind of be weird, and then you had to do theirs back.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
There's just so many like shows now. That's what's crazy. Like everyone has a podcast, I feel like. And it's like
I remember back in the day it was like cable, if you had like over 40 channels, it was a big deal. Now it's like you can tune into anything. Like this is another podcast, Your Mom's House. Like that's in their house. It's like, or they're doing touring podcasts, or it's like documentaries on like Beanie Babies. It's like so many different things. But I remember back in the day it was like Sports Center.
Yeah.
Like football games, like political debates, wrestling. It was like, if you don't like this stuff, you're just not watching TV.
Right.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Love podcasts.
Yeah. Are you thinking about doing a podcast one day? Like after fighting, I guess?
I don't know. I guess I haven't really looked much into that route, I guess. I don't think I have a lot to say.
Dude, everybody that we asked to come on, their first thing is like, I don't think I'm interesting. I'm like, dude, you've made it this far in life. You're definitely interesting. Everybody has something to say or talk about or an opinion or a point of view. So it's not like
that. And like, I don't think like I have stories that maybe Gillian or you like, dude, like that was cool. Like that. Yeah. I like that. That's different. And she has like stories like probably to her, it's no big deal, but it's like I was in, I saw Joanna and freaking whoever, right? Kayla Harrison throw down and like, dude, Kayla handled herself standing. It's like us. We're like, dude, I want to know that. That's crazy. Yeah. It's like,
what you can get used to is insane. Like good and bad.
Oh yeah. And I feel, but for me, I feel like, I guess like you said, like I don't feel like I'm anybody important. Like for the fact that I'm in the UFC is still like mind blowing to me. I'm like, if I have a fan come up to me like, oh, can I take a picture? I'm like, oh my god, I have a fan. Like it's always such a surprise. Like I don't see myself as. I'm like, oh, nobody will want to hear me.
I wonder at what level does that like kind of wear off? Like how long does it take, or is it like a amount of exposure that it takes? Because like, for example, Connor got it pretty quick as far as like. Right. I never saw him on anything where he didn't feel like he fit into that role. But then you got some people that it's like they don't even like being in front of a mic for like questions from media, like media day or something.
Right. And then tell me that all the time. Like Jillian was like, the media day is worse than the fight. It's like, what? Yeah. Like
literally, my first experience in front of like any type of media was with the Tough House. So I would go and I'd do interviews with them, and I'd like halfway through the interview, I'd be like, "Can you guys hand me that towel?" Because I'd be sweating just so bad. Like it looked like I just got out of the sauna because I was just so nervous for it. I'm like, it's such a big thing for me, and it's crazy to me that like. We were talking about how I can go in a cage and fight people, and that's nothing. But for me to talk in front of 20 people today, I'm like, it's such a huge struggle.
Yeah, it's probably just from practice and drilling. Like, you're not used to, like, or used to be used to people asking you questions, I've always wondered, like, about the Tough House or, like, those types of, like, reality show-based houses. When they do those interviews, clearly some of that has to be well after, but, like, how after? Because you see some stuff, like I watched 90 Day Fiance, right? And some of the stuff they like question these people on, they look so drastically different from when the event happened because they'll have surgery on their face or big boobs all of a sudden. And it's like, but they're acting like they interviewed them the day the thing happened. And what is the distance on like, say you got in a fight like before the ring or something, or like with another coach or something. Are they interviewing you that day about it? Or are they waiting till the end of the season and then showing you clips of being like, yo, what the hell happened here?
It was more like within the week. So they just had a one interview room in the back, and they'd bring you back there whenever you want. And sometimes they just come in the house and be like, we need an interview from someone. They'd just be asking anybody to come back. Wow. So it was usually within the week, but also being in the Tough House, we were only there for 6 weeks. Yeah. So it's kind of a short period of time, kind of crunch time. So, and I feel like it's better too when your memory is just fresh. Yeah. Like when I was in the Tough House, I got food poisoning like 2 days before I fought. So I'm like, the only time I've ever had food poisoning in my life, I was up all night like throwing up. They took me to the hospital. It was like 2 days before I'm like, it helped with my weight cut. That was about it.
That's crazy.
But as soon as I went to the hospital and I came back, and as soon as I got back, they're like, "Can we do a quick interview with you right now?" I was like, "No, we're not doing this right now." But yeah, it was like that. Like as soon as you come back, they're like, "Can we go? Can we do this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm too sick right now."
And they're just like lobbing up questions.
Yeah, just ask you like anything about like what's happened around the day, or they sit you in the chair. It's a chair facing backwards, and they have a huge octagon light in front of you, and that's all you can see. So that's why on the interviews you can see like octagon circles.
Yeah. I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like my buddy works on reality shows, but he works on like the ones where they're like building houses or like frontier type shows, like out in the wilderness. But he says everything on those shows all fabricated. Like everything is fake. There's no like real drama because they're just getting like people that kind of know whatever the thing is. Like he does one called Cowboy Way. Maybe I shouldn't put that out there like that, but like these people can cowboy or whatever that is considered, wrangle or whatnot. But like if there's drama, they have to feed them the drama. They're like, well, just fake take this dude's cow and then just hold it for a week. And all these shows are filmed in days, like 3-4 days.
Right.
And they'll make a whole season out of it because they film like 24/7. Like they'll film some at night in the day, and it's like the amount of stuff that you think is real. It makes me feel like 90 Day Fiancé, other than when they have babies. How real is some of that?
I've never seen that. I've never heard of it.
90 Day Fiancé?
Yeah. Is it? Is
Bro,
big thing?
it's the jam, dude.
It's the jam.
It's the jam. Also, another...
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's
Dude,
good?
an even wilder one is Married at First Sight. Have you heard of that?
That one's I've definitely watched that. I'm like, it's crazy.
What?
But like a lot of those people are still like in relationships.
Yeah, so
like
it
they're
has to
married
be
for
real,
years.
right?
Yeah.
So wait. They show a guy, a girl, and a girl, a guy the first time they agree to be
They don't
married.
even do that.
They meet at the altar. Like
Yeah.
that's it. They don't
Like
know
the-
each other's names, don't know anything.
No,
yeah.
way. And you can't
But-
say no. Like that's
You've signed up.
oh,
Like you say yes, that's part of the
But
process.
like there's a couple from the first season. They have like probably like 15 seasons now. There's a couple from the first season that are still together.
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think you have like, well, inside of the season, they give you like therapy sessions and stuff with the people, with the love experts, and it's like, are these people married? So how expert? I don't know.
Well, that's kind of funny. That's like such a. Do you need to be an expert to be? Do you have to be in it? Like, okay, so like,
That's true.
I've
Maybe you have a
never
different
like,
flavor of
it's-
love.
yeah, I've never fought. Never been in one fight. When I was 8 years old, I handled myself on the block. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after that, like when you start growing up,
Well, you fight in the UFC right now.
well, that's true. I do own
Now.
Yeah, UFC flyweight.
You have a record, yeah.
So we have a record. So that's true. But like I'm never. But I think I'm pretty good at one. Like I know what I'm watching. I think I know who's usually better and technique and skill and this. And then of course, like I think I'm okay at it. I'm still doing it. Like I think I communicate. Commentate on what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But like it's weird. Like some people, like I feel like. No, Dave's never fought. Like, can he be really that good at it or not? I don't know. It's weird.
I think maybe it's because you have a mentally trained mind for it. Like, I hate to like reference this like terrible podcast from a long time ago, but Brian Callen did this podcast and it's called Mixed Mental Arts. But it's like that idea of like you've trained your mind to like recognize certain patterns and behaviors in fights. So that's how you are smart in that way. Even if you haven't fought, that's how you're picking it up. Like some of the people that have like I'm sure there's some scientists that have never been in space. Like almost all of people have never been in space, right?
Right.
But they will tell us about space. You know, they're like there just came out like 2 days ago or yesterday that there's like a orbiting saucer like thing out in the Milky Way that every 18 minutes it shoots out a burst of energy for 1 minute straight. Every 18 minutes consistently for like as long as they've been observing it. Wow. But they've never been to it.
Yeah.
So they speak on it. They know what they're talking about or as much as they can know about it. You know? That's wild, isn't it? Like
It's super comfy
yeah, it's dope.
hoodie.
It's kind of like that like dry fit or like
Yeah, like the outside is super like glossy
yeah.
and then inside's definitely good.
Like we were talking to the dude and he's like, you don't want champion. And I was like, no, yeah, this is exactly what I want. And he's like, I'm going to send you this This is what you're getting. I'm like, well, maybe not that, but we got that. Yeah.
So are you going tonight?
Yep.
Cool.
Me and Hilton will be there. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it to this because he's going to that.
Okay.
So he couldn't take the whole day off because he had already promised. But yeah, we'll both be there, shaking babies and kissing hands.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm excited. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I wish that there was like an app or something that the audience could listen to the commentary. Because there's no way for the live audience to listen to you guys. And I've always thought that was like a
little bit of a missing link.
Yeah, like does the UFC do that?
No, I was just going to say, I feel like that's an interesting dynamic at the UFC too. If you go to watch it live, there's no commentary.
Yeah.
It definitely does make a difference.
Yeah, especially
it's like
grappling, I would think, and especially like really tight, close rounds.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been to a lot of UFCs. Like, there's definitely better seats than not, and like everyone thinks to be on the ground. Oh, cool! I'm on the ground. Whatever, you have to show them your ticket on your phone. But if you sit on the ground but not close in the back, your seats are fucked. Like you see, you literally, the higher you go is like the better seats there are for.
You got to get probably like 4 or 5 rows up, so you're like there.
First,
you're there, but you got a little bit of height.
Yeah, I've seen some videos from like that angle, like of major events that have happened in the UFC, and I'm like, why wouldn't you just get those seats? But you'll see like camera angles from like the back of like The Rock's head.
Yeah.
And you're like barely catching and then there's a ring post and you're not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Like I think the Bay Center has a dope venue for that. Like every seat is a good seat.
Yeah.
Like you get a good view even if you are on the floor, but I guess that's because it's a boxing ring, but every view is like really good.
Especially cage side.
Yeah.
Or ringside calling fights.
Yeah, you get to see it right under the ring and catch everything. But
it's crazy.
Yeah, like I've always wondered, because I've never been to a UFC fight, but I've always wondered if they were like apps or like headphones they give out. But dude, that's $1 million idea right
So you might be onto something right here.
Football, like hockey,
you see like old people in the crowd of like football or baseball stuff. Like they put that earpiece in because they're like listening to their local radio.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
Whatever 580. I don't even know what radio is
so
now.
What if you like
it's Rogan and Anik in DC. They're like on 780 AM.
Like I specifically like watching CBS, like in college football on CBS because of the broadcasters, like the way they break the fight down, and I feel like they're like some of the most unbiased people. Like I really like Alabama, but like it doesn't matter to them who's winning or losing. They're just telling them like the keys to the victory. It's like. That is like, I'd rather watch that on TV and get the best view because they cut to every angle.
Right.
Than sometimes paying like hundreds. You know, with that being said, like me and Hilton just got tickets to ADCC. And it's like, I don't know that you'll hear any of the commentating there either. But typically it's so quiet when their matches are going on. But it's going to be in a massive studio, or in UNLV's. Like,
the MAC? Is the MAC Center?
Is that where it's at?
But if it's so, do they have commentators there for that?
Yeah, like
so
Flow Grappling.
Yeah.
They have like Flow Grappling does it, and then they always have like past champions on for like a few fights, and then they'll like kind of cycle through. Like they have typically it's like champions from the prior year or like 20 years ago. World champion. Wow. So it's like they're cycling through to get different points of view. And like they have like 12 different mats, so you can go from each mat and hear different commentary. So it's interesting.
That's cool.
I don't know how they would bridge that gap. I don't know. Like, but what happened with the Snoop Dogg and Uriah Faber thing?
Yeah.
They were doing like alternative commentating.
No. Yeah, well, it was for the Contender series.
Yeah.
It was actually when I was in the Tough House, so we got to hang out with Snoop Dogg and Uriah.
Really?
We got to smoke weed with Snoop when we were in the Tough House.
That is a wild story, dude.
That is one of the stories that it's like I feel like it was a moment of my life where it didn't feel like real life. Like I'm like, is this a dream? Like Snoop Dogg's passing me a blunt right now,
dude. What even is that feeling of being like?
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, like seeing somebody on TV and then seeing them in person.
And it's the funny thing, like the more I kind of conversate with more people or bigger people or higher people or celebrity people, Like everyone's the same person. Everyone is so normal. Like other than maybe Tom Cruise. I never met Tom Cruise. He seems pretty psycho, right? Makes great movies.
Don't say normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's absolutely insane.
Yeah, exactly. He's super crazy. So,
he's
but like
probably this tall, but he's got the stature of like a 6'6" man.
Like I really don't think I've met someone a fighter in the UFC that were just like totally different from us. Like we're just.
See, I wonder though. Like you said him earlier. I wonder if you were to meet Colby, not on camera.
No, I hear he's like a good, nice dude.
I've seen some videos where he was giving people some legit, real advice. He's like, dude, grind hard. People don't care about your story. Just make a character, be that character, and then you'll go far. You'll make a lot of money. But if you're trying to be the best, just keep fighting. Like he was giving this dude legit advice. And the dude was like, whoa, you're not like this on camera. And he's like, you can't be.
I trained at ATT for 3 years, I think. And I never heard Colby say a word. Like, he would just come in, get his work, and leave. Like, it's not like he's like the big person in the gym, like trying to start all this shit. Like, he would just get his work and be out of there. Like, I never heard him say one word the whole time I was there.
So crazy.
But this fight coming up is legit.
Yeah.
I feel like once he started talking shit publicly, it was with Dustin and with Masvidal that I feel like it got real. Because I saw one time when I was at ATT, I saw him and Dustin. Like there was definitely a lot of tension there. Like the coaches were able to keep it
feels
down.
Like
but
Dustin's real. You know,
yeah,
he doesn't come off like.
I was just gonna say that about Jorge. Like I'm, super lucky enough to see him all the time now and hang with him and all that stuff. Who, like, Jorge shows himself to the UFC media day, that's Jorge Masvidal on a Tuesday. Like, he's, maybe the dressing a little bit nicer and the silk, whatever, and the hair. But, like, that's him. Like, he is as real as they fucking come. Like, that's...
I feel like Colby just went too far publicly, and then those two are real about it, so now it got real.
Yeah, like, you can't cross a line, and then he did, and then those are the two guys who are like, no, we're going to fight now.
Yeah.
It could be in the UFC, we could make millions together, or, like, we're going to see each other at Publix, and we're throwing down.
See, I've heard stories from podcasters like Brendan Schaub. He messaged Matt Mitrione and was like, yo, let's sell this fight. Let's talk mad shit to one another. I'm going to say some stuff, but don't take it personal. You're welcome to say anything. And I guess Brandon Schaub went first and said something wild, and then Matt Mitrione went off. And then he's like, no, dude, we're not cool. You went too far. So I wonder if there's messages out there of Colby being like, yo, I'm going to say some crazy shit. And then Jorge being like, nah, dude, don't do that because, like, I'm not for that. And then Colby being like, yeah, but I kind of need this money. Because, like, Jorge's already going to make money.
Yeah.
But, like, Colby had to change everything. He was on the verge of being cut.
Yeah.
Even though he was a good fighter, just because the style seemed boring to somebody.
He's a good fighter. He was main eventing against Damian Maia in Brazil.
Yeah.
And even if he won, they were going to cut him. They're like, if you look, he looks very vanilla. He just looks like everyone else. And, like, he never really stopped people. So, like, he just wasn't exciting. Yeah. And they're like, we're just going to let him go. And then he just talks so much shit about Brazil and, like, the whole American thing.
You filthy. Dude, it's crazy. I think one of the most egregious versions of that is, like, DJ. Like, they let DJ go in a trade.
Yeah.
Like, and he was the greatest pound for pound.
Trade for Askren, too.
I know.
Yeah. And then it's like, look how
and they never liked Askren either.
But, look what happened with it, too.
Yeah, I don't... That's horrible, right?
Trade for, like, Fedor if you really want to get somebody that's going to go, like, because...
He wanted to kill the flyweight division. Like, that was it. Yeah. Like, DJ was so good... And, like, everyone wanted to see him.
And he was flashy, too, at times. Yeah. It's not like it was just like he was... No offense to GSP, but, like...
Was it Ray... I think it was Ray Borg. Yeah, he picked up and did the flying armbar.
Yeah.
I'm like, that shit was...
Suplex
so good.
Crazy. But they just let him go like that. It's like... Yeah.
They wanted to kill the division, and they knew with Demetrius they could never do it. Like, he's so fucking good. It's like, he needs... a division to do his work.
Like, that's one of the top divisions with Moreno and Figueiredo on top.
Dude, right now it's one of the hottest. Bro.
Yeah, I love that division.
And tell me you don't want a fourth fight.
Yes,
exactly.
Fourth fight all day.
Now, how did you see that last fight going? I didn't see it ending. Like, I didn't see Davidson walking out with the belt after the fight was over. I saw the fight and I was like, I don't know.
Why?
Because in order to take the belt off a champ, you have to beat the champ.
That's what I feel like everybody's reasoning is.
Okay.
But only because John set that precedent. Like, nobody has, like, egregiously beat John for some reason in the judge's eyes. Now, there's been times where you're like, that belt should be changing hands. But it's like they don't beat him enough. Like, they beat him. You can say they beat him, but it, for some reason, isn't enough. I don't know what that is.
Dude, there's a super successful, I can talk, right?
Successful
podcast out there called the David Van Auken Show.
No way.
And this one guy talked on this for like 10 minutes. It was my thread. Like, to me, that's the most archaic, like old school.
Archaic.
I don't give it. Yes, all those words, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that. Every fight's individual. Every fight's different.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's,
No, I get
like
it.
the be the champion thing. Like, people said they're like, oh, you got to beat the champ. I'm like, he did. Like, and actually, I thought Morano won the fight.
Yeah.
I bet on Davison, an underdog plus 155. I was like, okay, dope. And then I was like, okay, but watching the fight, I thought Moreno won. But like, for people to say their first thing is like, oh, you got to beat the champ. I'm like, no, if you just got to win 3 out of the 5 rounds. Like, each fight should be its own individual individual round. Like, what are they?
I'm not saying what I believe.
Right.
I'm saying what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how they do it.
Yeah, like,
you know what it is? Like, they need to require people to either have like 3 years in striking or a purple belt or
to judge.
Yes. It cannot just be fucking Bethany from Walmart. It needs to be somebody that has an extensive background that what they should really be doing, they should be having people shadow judges for the next line of judges to come out. It can't be people that are giving like either draws or like 10-8s to things that it's like, dude, he got a single takedown. Like, how is that a 10-8?
Right.
And now it's different if he does something with that takedown, but it's like the criteria for the judging, the judges don't always abide to. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like a boxing judge in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, like
Adelaide Byrd.
Every individual that watches fights has different methods of what they're watching or what they think is doing the best. Like, I'm a person, I would rather, like in life, like, you know, for Christmas, I would rather have one gift, be like, but the number one thing I want. Like, it doesn't matter about money, but it's like, I want this one thing. I don't care about 10 things, right? So it's like, if you have, and it not to a certain extent, but if you have like the 3 best punches in the round, the flushes, or if it's a grappling session, if you just have total domination, or you going for nice slick submissions, if you're doing like the best, I like the cream. Like, if they're close, if you know Brandon had 35 punches that round, but Davison had 25, but Davison had the 3 best, I think Davison won. Like, but that's me, and I'm different probably from you or from you. You know what I mean? So it's like we're all thinking different of what they would want.
I think the judges back that because like when you watch the Dustin Max fight, Dustin was hurting him every punch.
Oh,
every punch was affecting Max. But Max, I think, was landing more, like throwing more
at the beginning until it got like nasty at the end. But
so it's like Max might have been winning those rounds based off of like the amount of punches.
Right.
Like Nate and Nick don't. Well, Nick does, but like Nate doesn't knock you out one punch.
Right.
But he'll give you 1,000 punches, and
1,000
it's like
cuts.
or like he basically stole that fight in like the eyes of like all the fans because he got
Leon?
him one time, and he's like, "Hey, I got you," and then all anybody remembers is that. But it's like Leon did earn that. Like he won the entire fight.
Right.
He lost that moment, like the Conor fight. Like Conor lost that entire Khabib fight. I don't think he won a round, and I know a lot of people debate like the 3rd round. I don't think he won that round. And if he did, it was because I think, honestly, Khabib did take it off. But everybody remembers that one punch that Khabib landed.
Overhand, right.
It's so aggressive, and it's like not many people catch Conor with something like that aggressively, you know?
That guy doesn't win fights anymore, so I don't know who you're really talking about. I'm sorry.
Well, this guy has a record.
What if they came to you with the Gregor fight? You only do girls, like you don't
like girls.
Well, but he doesn't have a winning record. So
like, I own a record, but I fight men, man. You saw I just tapped out Cam Bennett. Subbed him within 5 minutes.
I've heard this on the dark web,
man,
but I haven't
subbed
seen
him within 5.
I've seen video
Guillotine.
of something else.
Yeah, gee whiz.
Gee whiz.
It is.
You sound like Cam now.
Wow.
Cam says, "Heck, man, gee whiz."
Gillian's so excited about this video of making me maybe there's
it'll
a video
get out
there.
there somewhere.
I know it just some leak, on my Instagram.
Yeah, dude, send it to World Star.
Just got to think of the right caption before it gets.
It is all about the caption.
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
It's about the caption game. Instagram, it's like
Karen gets mad at David. Just say something like that because they're gonna be like, "A Karen was there."
Now I need my captions. I'm super into putting an emoji or 2 in the caption now. really into that.
That's what if I'm lazy, sometimes that's what we're doing, just throwing up an emoji, not even a caption.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Like on the reels, you don't have to put anything.
Big into reels.
And you can like rename the audio whatever you want to, but it can be approved or disapproved. I don't know what the disapproval is. I don't know what that is. I did want to ask you, like, what was your favorite memory since starting fighting, period? Not UFC per se, but like literally anything. Like,
I don't know. That's a good one. That's a lot. I feel like just like
or like most special. Like,
I feel like the places that the fighting's brought me. Like I've got to travel a lot. Like I trained out in Rome for a month. One of my friends, she was acquaintances with ATT. I think her coach was or something. So they hit up ATT, asked it for a good grappler. So I ended up going. They flew me out there. They paid me. I stayed with her. So it was like pretty much going out there just to train. And she was a local. So it's like I got to travel around Rome. Like the Colosseum was like absolutely mind blowing to me. So it's like just all the places I've got to go. Like I feel like lately I've gotten really big into hiking. So it's like I've been to Oregon and Colorado and Utah recently, just traveling and hiking, and I feel like all just the things I've seen is absolutely amazing to me.
I've always wanted to go to Oregon. I hear like crazy good things. I've been to Tennessee and Kentucky to hike, but not Oregon. That's like so far away from here. Yeah. But I've always wanted to go out there and see like how actually thick the trees are, because you see like videos of California trees where they're like as big as this room and the cars can go through them. I'm like, I want to see that in person. Something about seeing something that is like abnormally large is always like daunting to look at. Like a cruise ship is crazy big, or like a battleship.
Now, when I went out there, I hiked. It was like 2 miles into the woods, and we found a lake, and it's just like completely surrounded by mountains. And I'm like, I feel like it's so different. Like being in Florida, you're always worried about alligators. Can't go swimming in any lake. I'm like to find a lake, and it's like, oh, this is cool. We can actually like have a good day and play in it, and it's just completely different. But Oregon's just it's. I feel like that's one of the most amazing places too. Just I was staying out there on the mountains, and I feel again, just being from Florida is so flat. I feel like anything that's a little bit elevation, I'm so amazed by.
Yeah, I always like to be in the mountains. Mountains are dope.
Yeah, I did it for the holidays. Like we went to North Carolina. It was awesome. Loved it.
North Carolina is so gorgeous. Like I was on tour with a band once, like selling their merch, and we went through South Carolina and then hit North Carolina on the way out. And, like, their small towns are so, like, movie-ish.
Yeah.
It's like, this doesn't seem real. It's so pretty. And it was, like, it was around about this time. So, like, the leaves have changed. And they were falling. And it was like, what are we, in a Hallmark movie? Yeah. Like, this is insane.
Pretty cool. No, I like North Carolina. Ton of, mountains. It was, like, it was, like, all snow. So we did, like, snow tubing and everything. It was cool. Into that.
So as far as like the UFC, I asked Mike this when he was on, how like strict are they about you doing things with other promotions? Like maybe not on TV, but like if Bellator or somebody wanted you to fly you out and train with someone like that, or you wanted to do like, I mean, Submission Underground's different because they're kind of together, you know, UFC Fight Pass. But if it wasn't like UFC Fight Pass, like what if you wanted to do ADCC?
Yeah, I feel like any grappling competition is fine. I'm actually going to do the combat jiu-jitsu coming up in March too with Eddie Bravo. But yeah, any grappling competition they've always been cool with. I feel like if I wanted to go train with a Bellator fight or something like that, that doesn't matter. But if it was to fight for their promotion or anything like that, that's crossing the line. I don't know how they'd be with. I'm assuming like boxing wouldn't be allowed, But I'm like, with combat jiu-jitsu, I've never really asked. I've just kind of done it.
Yeah, I've wondered because what happened with...
Waiting to get yelled at.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always, you can't ask and them say no, then do it. So, like, you can always, I feel like, do it and then be like, hey, that wasn't cool. We don't want you to do it again. But then you did it. Like, but you can't ask them say no, that you actually do it. It's like, fuck. No,
I just wondered if they would, like, ban you or suspend you, like, due to, like, whatever reasons. And then, like, perception would be like you popped for something, because if they hear you got suspended, they get suspended, people are gonna be like, "Oh, she does steroids." Everybody always thinks that, but
no, she does THC is what everybody thinks.
No, but I was wondering because like with what happened to Cub, like he tore everything in his leg, and now he's back and everything's fine. But that was like a few years ago, like doing a UFC Fight Pass. I think it was called Submersive or something.
That was Quintet.
Quintet, that's what it was. Yeah, with Uriah Faber and like Anthony Smith and all that.
Shredded his leg.
Shredded it. So I thought they would have like updated the rules on like what UFC fighters were allowed to do because y'all are like private contractors, but like it's also kind of UFC property when you're on the contract, right?
When I first got into the UFC, I asked them about it just with straight grappling matches, and they said as long as it's not within 30 days of a fight, that it was okay. So I'm like, but that was just with straight jiu-jitsu. I don't know if like with combat jiu-jitsu or boxing or kickboxing, if they'd like have different rules because you're actually getting hit then. Like
like what if you get a concussion? Because people are getting so much better at that, like figuring out where the angles are right for CJJ. It's like,
I'm like the palm of your hand is hard. Like that, it's not like I feel like people think it's gonna be easy or something. I'm like, no, like I'd rather get hit by a glove than the palm of my hand. I'm like that. Like if people can actually like throw a strike good,
it's like
exactly.
The ball of your foot or the heel.
I feel like some people don't take advantage. They'll just be throwing slaps, but really you got to land the palm of your hand solid.
Dude, Boss Rutan used to put out like, this was like kind of before I ever saw any like instructionals, but it was like instructionals for pancrase. Like the way you strike with your palms, like full instructionals on it. And it's like, dude, like that's insane. His wrist has got to be so strong. Like we just had, Alexander Shank on like 2 days ago. Weird question, have you ever touched his hands?
They're humongous.
Well, they're humongous, but if you've touched them, they're harder than this table, dude. Like they're not porous, they're like
something different.
Like he's
like a superhero. He's like he's got thin hands.
He was like I broke my thumb, so we were talking to like about our broken thumbs, and he was like discussing like something that went further back on his hand, and he's like, yeah, there's screws in here, and I was like, yo, let me feel the screw. I want to feel like if you can feel the. He's like, you can't, and I felt it, and I was like, that feels like a mug. Like it felt like I was holding a mug, and it wasn't the screws; it's his hands. Like that's such a wild thing that like certain people have like characteristics. Like I can only imagine like how the Diaz's hands feel, like not in a glove. Like, what do those knuckles feel like? You know?
They've been around.
I feel like some people tell me, like, when I'm grappling with them, they're like, you just hurt. Like, you're not doing anything and you just hurt. Like, the way I grab or the way I'm posting or, like, just everything that I do, I just hurt.
What is your favorite thing? Is it grappling?
Yeah, I like being heavy. Just sitting on top of people. It's my specialty.
That's wild. Maybe one day or 1 year you could go out for ADCC. That would be dope, dude. I don't think I've seen, like, Chael did it, like, in 2017, but he was like an alternate, so they like called him because somebody dropped. But I don't know how you qualify for that, because Chael's not like known for grappling. He has like a wrestling background,
right?
I feel like it's just like I compete jiu-jitsu all the time right now, but it's just such a different world. Like, because I'm so focused on MMA. It's like, so I'm getting to good punching positions, focus on getting my grip so I can throw a punch, so I can set something up in that way. And now it's like in a jiu-jitsu competition, I get to mount and I'm like, what do I do? Like, I can't punch you. Like, what am I supposed to do with my hands now? And especially like, so many in Nogi, it's like the leg lock game is getting so advanced.
Crazy.
Where it's like in MMA, I'm not seeing that at all. So it's two different worlds completely. Yeah. So I feel like for me to even like, I don't consider myself like, for me to be like a world champion black belt, you know, I feel like I can hang with most black belt girls, but like once they're up there, I know that like that's gonna start giving me issues just because it's their world, it's not my world. But if I can throw strikes, then we're okay on there.
Are you going somewhere specific for the camp for the CJJ, or are you just like adding it in where you're at?
Honestly, jiu-jitsu, I never really do like camps. I was talking to Hannah about this recently. I'm like, I feel bad. The last tournament I came to, I'm like, you could tell all these girls, they had like hard camps getting ready for it. And Hannah's like, do you want to do a tequila shot like the day before?
Man, that's crazy.
I like for like for MMA, my fights, I'm 100% serious. That's when I have a camp. I'm ready for that. But I feel like jiu-jitsu, I can't take it serious because I know that it's not what I'm invested in. And if I do take it too serious, then it's like, it takes a mental toll on me where I'm like, if I can't lose in this, where it's like, if I don't, I'm just playing, I know it's something for fun. It's something to competitively test myself. Then it's like, I don't take it as serious and a loss isn't as detrimental to me, I guess.
Yeah. People don't do that enough. Just have fun with whatever they're doing or try to have fun. Like, I work at Target. It's not the funnest, but I try to have fun. Right. I joke with people, gotta have a good time. You gotta like have the time pass really easily. But I see people that just like will get so stuck and just dive deeper and deeper in a negative like mindset of like, this job sucks. And a lot of jobs suck. But you gotta work towards what you want to do for a living, not what you have to do right now. Like,
I feel like I'm in what I want to do for a living and it still sucks. I'm like, I'm like, well, it's like there's days that suck, there's days that are good. I'm like, I'm like, you gotta like, it's like, I feel like it's not gonna be all sunshine all the time. You gotta like, I love this job more than anything, but it becomes work some days. Like even these last few, after my last loss, I went through a couple months where I felt like I didn't have a good day in a long time, where I was I was struggling to find a motivation, struggling to really like want to train, to want to like, I was like, I knew I still wanted to fight, but I was like, if they asked me for a fight, I would have signed the contract and been like, all right, I guess I'm doing this. Like I didn't have the want to really like the drive to want to be there. And I feel like, but now like I feel like I'm out of that rut. I'm in a good spot. I'm like, I feel like it's just part of work. You got to get through it, keep on moving, and like you said, try to make the best of it. Try to have good days. Try to no matter what, because like the good times are good.
Isn't that crazy? And like we talked about too. Like we're 1 or 2%. There's like so many people wake up and they go to an office or they go to the post office or whatever, and they're like so unhappy, and like that's what they have to do. And then there's 50,000 people in America that's like, oh, we wake up and they're a professional athlete, or even maybe there's a teacher. It's like, yeah, I love to teach. This is what I want to do. So there's some out there, but it's so far and few in between. Yeah. And then even that, like even the 1%, it's like some of those days suck too. Yeah. It's crazy.
I always say though, I'm like, I used to work at Chili's. So I'm like, any day I've left the gym crying has been better than any day I had to walk into Chili's.
Oh, yeah, dude.
100%.
Yeah. It's like, have you guys seen the movie Waiting with Dane Cook?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like everybody's like that. They like walk out and they're like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
It's like they got to be like that, but dude, it could be so much better. Like it just starts with your mind. Like even on the bad days, you just like get through that. It doesn't have to stay, but I know you guys got to get somewhere, so I'll let you guys get out of here. Is there anything you guys want to plug before we leave?
No, there's not something to plug, but I do have a question.
What's up?
You ready? I want to like try to bring something back. You ready? So I was driving up here and I'm trying to bring something back. I miss listening to Blink 182. Like, can we do 2022? Listen to Blink 182. Can we like start something?
Well,
people?
that's a slogan.
Right.
That sounds like a presidential slogan.
I can get behind that.
2022. Listen to Blink 182.
Yeah. Like, come on, like. God, it was so good. I was like in a YouTube mix, and I was just like, okay, like I don't know, I want something different. Or I'm like, dude, I haven't listened to Blink 182 in years. I'm like, oh, it was like 11 straight songs. I'm like, this is incredible,
dude. Yeah, they're doing this like when we were young, or when we were younger, festival. Like I think it's out in California. It's like 50 to 70 bands from like early 2000s, like. Blink, like Mayday Parade. It's like all that type of music.
Lit.
Like everything. It's insane. It's going to be like the biggest festival for those. It's like pretty much emo kids. Not that you have to like wear mascara and stuff, but it's like if you were into your feels, I'm one of them kids.
Well, Valentina can do.
It's like it's not a phase, Mom.
Yeah, it's not a phase. I appreciate this music.
Oh my goodness.
But is there anything you want to plug? Like you want to talk a little shit to Hilton since he's not on here again?
Dude, man, I do miss him, man.
He never did say anything about the creamer, by the way. He didn't have a stance. Last time when we were closing, you were like, what's your creamer?
Okay.
Yeah, and I said hazelnut.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what creamer you picked. I think you said something like caramel or something.
I like tons of... I'm a creamer guy. Like,
yeah. But he
how many iced coffees? I had like 3 iced coffees yesterday.
He didn't have a stance on it. So you have to get at him tonight.
Yeah, that, and then we'll have to do it again. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, this is awesome. No, you guys are killing it.
I
So
appreciate
pumped,
it.
man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We're trying to do our thing, yeah. Any fights coming up?
Not right now. It's
Just
just
a CJJ?
yeah, just CJJ. That's early March. I want to say it's March 12th or 13th. I'm not 100%.
Do you know where they're going to be doing that this time?
It's actually in Cancun. So yeah,
Dude, they got a good location down there. You know?
I want to say that they can't they'd have to get a commission to be there because it's CJJ if it was in America. So that's why they do it in Cancun. Because I heard that I don't know, somebody was talking about it. I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but like, because they were talking about like, oh, is this CJJ or not? It was actually when I was competing for Fury, they had that huge card and it was Kevin Holland. He was like, oh, is this CJJ? And they're like, nah, we don't got the commission here.
that might be true, though.
Yeah.
It's crazy what you got to do to get away with some things, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know when this is going to come out, but by then there could be a huge, crazy announcement, man.
I saw that, and I didn't want to like pressure you to say anything
So
on here.
crazy.
This will come out this week.
Yeah. I got a big. Okay, so I got like a big meeting coming up in a couple of days, and it's like, I can't believe Dean posted it. Dean Tool, like he's the opposite. It's actually one of my biggest pet peeves, especially on social media. It's like, oh, big announcement coming. It's like, dude. Like, it never comes. I check go back to your page, like, and people say that all the time. But yeah, this is pretty big. This is pretty cool. And it's just, he's like, it's a done deal. I'm like, okay, well, until I see like a really cool contract, then it'll be a done deal. But I'm super excited, man.
Well, I'm excited for you. You definitely deserve it, you know?
Thanks, dude.
And I can't wait to see when, I assume a title's on the line for that?
They
gotta give you a title.
It's a tournament.
Yeah, so the winner gets a title.
Yeah,
he always gives out titles. So.
Yeah.
So we
can break more records together.
Exactly. Look at us.
I can be new.
2022 undefeated.
And
Both
listen
of you
to
guys.
Blink-182.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like,
and listen.
Like winning some super important, Gillian. That's like, I want you to win, but let's listen to more Blink-182 first.
The important thing.
I feel like he's pressuring you to walk out to that. Now y'all are going to be listening to that on the way home. Like, what song am I walking out to?
I got my walkout song. Like, there might be more stuff that we do something in the future if dates can do it. But like, I have my. Are you going to be
recording a song for her to walk out to? Don't say that.
We're going to get into a match.
Oh
my god! I've seen how that goes.
Huh?
I've seen how that goes, though, dude.
Well, if I have weapons, if I can, it was just a straight grappling. Like
you're gonna do like that cop from Detroit.
Oh, better than that.
No, you
better.
Don't know
See?
All right,
better. We'll be back.
Yes, I can't wait to have you guys back on. And Hilton definitely exists. I know I keep saying that, and you're never.
He had a good show today. He put in a lot. Hilton did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, he's been real quiet over there, but he definitely enjoyed himself. We want to thank you guys for coming out. I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all making the time for it. I know y'all have a very busy schedule, but check out the hoodie. He actually won it, and I promise you it was at random. There was a big pool of people, and it was just pulled randomly out of a number generator online.
I know. Why can't I win something and people not think it's random? What's up with that?
You're too cool. That's what it is.
I think you're just giving it to him.
Yeah. That's really what people think, but I'll let you guys go. I can't thank you guys enough. We appreciate you guys listening. We love you. We're out.